Hi everybody, welcome to the Stepping Forward with Kate show. I'm Kate Hellmers. Today we're going to talk about branding, both your company and yourself. And we have with us Mark Langford, who is the CEO of C Synergy, a best-selling author, has an MBA from Harvard, and has worked from Main Street to Wall Street, helping people figure out their branding, bringing corporations to where they want to be, and now is a transformational career consultant and helps individuals on the branding side also. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here. Well, as you know, we have our 5 traditional first questions that we ask, if that's okay with you.
Fine with me.
Excellent. What is a favorite book about branding or quote or...
Well, you know, one of my favorite quotes is by Joseph Campbell. He says, "The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure that you seek." And I find that most people are afraid to really bring their full, true selves out into the world. And so if you truly go past your fears, you're going to find who you are, and you're going to be able to brand yourself pretty well.
Wow, that's fantastic. And how do you keep yourself positive?
I have a pretty good morning ritual that I start out with. I start with in the morning I have 3 things that I acknowledge myself for. Right when I open my eyes, before I get out of bed, before I do anything else, I open my eyes and I say, okay, what 3 things do I acknowledge myself for? And it could be as little as making a sandwich for my son yesterday to graduating Harvard. And then I make it different every day, so I make it a little challenging for myself. And so that I don't get repetition and, start, not wanting to do this anymore. And then I add to that 3 things I'm grateful for, 3 things, and that's easy. I mean, you have millions and millions of things that you can be truly grateful for in this lifetime. And then I just go into like a few minutes of meditation, and just this from a place of gratitude, and just sometimes I literally lose the sense of where my body ends and where the environment starts, and it's pretty cool. And so it just kind of gets me in flow for the day. So that's how I keep myself starting out well, and then throughout the day just doing things. For me, it's about doing and getting things done, because you feel productive when you do things. So that's helpful for me.
What a great routine.
Yeah.
And did you have a favorite teacher along the lines, and what was memorable about them, or what did they teach you that was memorable?
A favorite teacher in terms of school?
Right, yeah, grade school, grammar school, high school.
Probably my 4th grade teacher, Miss Donnie, only because I have a crush on her. Had a crush on her. I don't have a crush on her anymore, but I had a crush on her. So I remember her because she was a beautiful teacher, and she was really authentic and curious about the students and supportive, and it's all the things that you would hope for in a teacher.
Oh, and what is a favorite sport to watch or play?
Let's see. I like all sorts of sports, but I have to say American football is probably my favorite.
Yeah, okay. Any particular team?
Denver Broncos. I lived in Denver for a number of years, and I was there when they won their 2 Super Bowls back in 98, 99, somewhere in there. So it was an exciting time with Elway and everybody.
Yeah, there's nothing like winning a world championship, even being around it. And is there a TV or movie character when you were a child that you identified with?
Batman. I'm Batman. And it was, I was a little kid, and I always wanted to have, that save the world and strength, and, even though he didn't have any superpowers, he was always for good and helping people, so.
I love that. I love that. So getting to branding, what is your concept of branding?
Branding for me is really telling the world who you are and what problem you solve. And most people get really mired down in the logos and the colors and the fonts and everything else, when in fact they should really be looking at what they bring to the world, what gifts they have. And moving past that fear of showing the world who they are and being truly vulnerable. And a great brand starts from vulnerability, I think. And being able to tell people who you really are, and then in a very short, succinct way, tell them what problem you solve.
Mm-hmm. And why is that important? Does it show through clearly to the public when people don't do that? Well,
I think that we try too hard to sell ourselves instead of just telling this is what this is how I can serve. And when you come from a place of service rather than trying to persuade or convince somebody, then you have a much better chance at emotionally connecting with a customer or a partner or whoever you're trying to have commerce with.
And therefore better success. And do you think the branding concept then flows, is it the same in corporate environment as it is in a self-employment situation?
No, because I believe that the corporations are trying to appeal to masses and create new customers all the time, whereas individuals, especially when they're going to manage their career and get the next job, branding comes down to succinctly telling a person what you're going to do for them. And I have people, for example, when they write their resume, what 3 themes do you want to come through on your resume? And everything you say should tie back to that. And giving yourself a title, even though you might be a VP of this, what are you truly an expert on, and what do you bring to the table? What are your gifts? What problems do you solve? And so in the career, you're always trying to usually convince one person at a time. Somebody read the resume, get the interview, then the interview, get the offer, and so forth. So it's a little bit of a different approach for a corporation who is doing the mass marketing.
Okay. And for a self-employed person or a small corporation, what would be the first 3 things that you would suggest instead of just the stationery?
For individual?
Right.
Yeah, so for an individual, I always suggest it's kind of a pyramid. The first question is, who are you? Ask the question and come back with, who are you? And what do you need to do to show who you are? And then what actions do you need to take? So it's really a pyramid and the foundation is really understanding who you are and what you bring. You always come back to that, because the branding is truly about the gifts that you were uniquely given. And we were all given unique gifts, just like our fingerprints. You are a unique sum total of your experiences and your talents and your genealogy and who you know and how you behave, and all that makes you unique. And there will never be anybody like you. There was never anybody like you, nor will there ever be anybody like you in the future.
And then just have that waterfall down into everything you do?
Yeah, okay. and just have that messaging, be very, very clear about what you bring and how you serve.
Wow, that's great. What are a couple mistakes that you see people make, self-employed people?
Not getting clear on who they are, of course, and sitting down and taking the time to ask those hard questions. And what do you want to do, and why do you want to do it? And leaving the hows to the universe, so to say, because how it's going to show up is another mistake that people make. They have this expectation success needs to look like this, when in fact it can take thousands of different permutations, different ways to show up in your life. So if you just allow and drop that resistance, drop the expectation, know who you are and what you bring to the world, then you're probably going to start to notice things in your life. And I find that people also focus on the things that they don't want to happen. So oh my gosh, they're seeing the lint on my jacket, or I'm not answering this question clearly enough, and they're not focusing on what's in it for the other person.
Okay.
And just like branding and interviewing, anything else, it's what's in it for them. It's not what's in it for you. How can you serve? What's in it for them? And so stop focusing on yourself and focus on what's in it for them.
And then wrap that in a package that you can show them.
Sure.
Okay, great. Well, thank you. Well, we have the 30 seconds of fun here.
Okay.
So it's questions in 30 seconds, and it's how fast you can answer how many. Are you ready?
I will
These
try.
are very difficult. Okay. I think we already actually know one of them. It's here. Okay, here we go. At Disneyland, Space Mountain or Indiana Jones?
Indiana Jones.
Hamburgers or tacos?
Tacos.
Favorite sports team? You already said it.
Broncos.
If you had to do one of the two, which would you do? Race car driving or skydiving?
Skydiving.
Best scary bad guy?
Scary. Oh, Joker. Heath Ledger.
Like to ride motorcycles? Yes or no?
Yes.
Do you believe in angels?
Yes.
And cookies or cake?
Ooh. Both.
Oh, okay, that's it. Here we go. Oh, fabulous. So go to Amazon.com. Mark Langford has written a book called Thank God It's Wednesday that incorporates a lot of these ideas, and wow, it's realizing the purpose, passion, and life-work balance. And this can work in both the corporate environment and the self-employed or small company. It's a fantastic book. Congratulations. Really, really good. And you can also check him out at tgiw.com. Not hard to forget.
Thank God it's Wednesday.
That's right. So thank you for joining us. You can find out a lot at our free VIP site, vip.your10keys.com.